Thank you. This is Michael W. Ford. Today, I'm going to discuss the topic of my book, Fallen Angels. And I wanted to give some clarity, some clarification, some insight into the concept of Luciferian Magick and fallen angels, or demons, deities, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to keep it really focused around the book Fallen Angels, which is centered around the Enochian Watchers. So I'm going to give, and you'll have to excuse me for this, the very kind of the Cliff Notes rundown of what angels are, because I want to discuss the Watchers in more depth with concern to Luciferianism and the magic therein. From the Bronze Age forward, the ancient Near Eastern pantheons or religions, including those who practice magic, sorcery, etc., divination, generally were polytheistic. There were many different deities associated with the natural order, with many different aspects of the cycles of nature, whether the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets, specific occurrences in nature. And in Babylonian mythology and religion, there were chaotic beings that came forth first from Tiamat in the Enuma Elish. She created the chaos monsters, or these type of demons, and her eventual offspring and grandchildren, great-grandchildren, became the gods under Marduk Bel or Enki or Ea. And there was a battle, and the chaos that was Tiamat, that what she represented, was evolved into the natural order of the world. Yet Tiamat still existed within different deities and within the chaos, the abyss, within the chaotic places or dangerous places, mountainous regions, caves. Those forces remained. Now, the concept of angels, which is a messenger, was originally akin to a type of spirit which is more evolved and immortal compared to man and woman, like the seven Udug or evil gods, seven evil gods, the Sabeti of Babylonia. They were rebel demons who had the rank of gods, but they weren't in charge of any within the natural order. The same as Lamashtu. She was a fallen goddess who became eventually Lilith and that whole class of spirits. But demons were messengers. They were unfriendly generally to humans. They were dangerous. They were predators. They drank blood. They are described as inflicting chaos, pain, war, death. They journeyed around with Nergal or Era, the god of pestilence and war, but also the black sun. And sometimes the deities could influence them to do different tasks for them, like this human offended them, so they take care of that. You see that early on. Now, with the cult of Yahweh, angels, or the Sedu or cherubim, were like the winged and human-headed demonic-type bulls, the Sedu or Lamassu in Assyria. They guarded entrances There were specific genii and demons that guarded entrances that could be both beneficial and destructive. We see that in the cult of Yahweh around the time of before the Second Temple, so around the time of David forward. The imagery of the ancient Near East with many different gods, including the Canaanite or Ugaritic pantheons with Baal and so forth. They had divine enforcers, bodyguards, and messengers. Those would become the angels we recognize in later Judaism and Judeo-Christianity. Now, in the Luciferian witchcraft tradition, one of my initiatory aims early on, from what was passed to me from some more obscure Sabbatic teachings of Austin Spare, Kenneth Grant, Zoskia Cultus, and other Anglo or English witchcraft groups, involved the Watchers. Now, when you think Luciferian and Satanic spirits, or what that represents, that symbol, the Watchers really have a gem found within the Book of Enoch. So, the Book of Enoch belongs to Apocrypha. It's a type of collection of writings that were not included in the official canon of religion. So, Book of Enoch, Testament of Abraham, and so on were included in that. Now, the Book of Enoch was a part of the scripture early on. That was a part of the Judeo or Hebrew lore and teachings up until the time and through the time of the Maccabee revolts against the Seleucid Syrians, Macedonians. Now, to understand the Watchers, you have to look at it from different perspectives. You have to look at it logically and as the myth presents it. So, first thing, Luciferians don't, we utilize the imagery and embrace the adversarial imagery of the opposer, the adversary, the enemy, Satan, those who fell from heaven. But we don't invest any monotheistic dedication or belief to the cult of Yahweh, prior or after. It's a type of dressing, if you will. It's a type of mask that presents a certain atmosphere, certain type of language and methodology in initiation, in the connection with spiritual forces, spirits, deities, or what I call deific mask. The Watchers are included in this. So in the Book of Enoch, the 200 Watchers descended to Mount Hermon, which Mount Hermon has all throughout in antiquity been a sacred and forbidden magical place. It was considered a place of Zeus, of different variants of Pan in the Hellenistic period. Also Baal Hermoni. Hermoni was one of the Watchers of Mount Hermon who reigned or existed in that mountain after the Watchers descend. They descend to instruct humans on all types of forbidden skills and knowledge. And what they do with it is up to them. So it goes to the self-accountability part in Luciferianism. What will you do with the knowledge and the skills that you acquire, the indulgences that you have, the temptations? Now, the strong Luciferian will have a balance point and have a strong iron will towards their inherent desire, what they feel they must do. Indulgence is good, but don't let it destroy you or those around you. So the Watchers took human wives, and this goes into the reoccurring myth of spirits or heavens joining with earth, begetting offspring, the Nephilim, who were giants, and that can represent like the Hellen or Greek, ancient Greek around the Bronze Age of the Mycenaeans, the warriors of Crete during the Trojan War, the destruction of Troy, and the Sea Peoples and the Philistines who settled. Many of these heroes, they also had them as the Rephaim or Nephilim in Syria, and these were warriors who their whole thing in life was to earn a great name, and that's one way that you could echo into eternity. And so these Watchers were born of these angels who descended, and their fiery substance took a human shape, and they took wives, taught them witchcraft. Azazel taught weapons and beautifying the self, makeup. Shemyaza was roots, sorcery, knowing nature, using nature and the knowledge of those like plants, medicines, all kinds of different ones. Watchers, Serial of the moon. These Watchers bestowed great gifts, and their children were predatory conquerors. They soon started to, in the warlike spirit, consume and drink blood and eat the flesh of their enemies. Now, the book of Enoch goes into this xenophobic thing, and they were trying to keep the Macedonians and Greek influence out of their Hebrew temple and culture around 168 BC. So all of those elements of Greek learning and cultural, a lot of those things were considered taboo by the Hebrews. So the book of Enoch mirrors that. The Watchers were angels who decided and took an oath and taught all of these skills. The black flame was bestowed unto man. So eventually the tale goes on, and the Watchers go through all these trials. Some are chained into Dudiel, which is the type of cauldron in the desert, and so forth. So this tradition carried on in symbol in Luciferian witchcraft, and you see it in other strains too, such as the 1734 tradition, the Horseman's Word, and so forth. My particular work embraces the Watchers within a modern context and within the scope of ENOCH I. is there's an intertwining with Luciferian witchcraft involving Samael, Lilith, Cain, Baphomet, Hecate or Hecate, all centered around and expanding from ENOCH I and the teachings. So within Luciferianism, the Triad of the Morning Star: liberation, illumination, apotheosis. It's not a collection of buzzwords or something I'm trying to push. It's a structure of acquiring levels of initiation. And this triad is like a wheel. And as you use liberation to focus on removing or changing restrictive or negative beliefs that hold you back or cause problems, that liberation, breaking that chain, learning about the origin of Luciferianism and how Judeo-Christianity is just a tool used by ancient and modern powers that be to control the masses and point them in the direction of everything's going to be okay, just keep doing your thing. Well, liberation, once you get that going, okay, I've learned this, I've tested it, I've validated it. Wow, now there is a seed of faith within myself and what I'm doing. It's not just, hey, believe this. You're testing it and you're using it in your own unique way. So in doing that, liberation then becomes illumination. That's using that knowledge towards something practical within yourself to evolve, to change, whatever that is. And then out within your world, the world that you exist in and can help shape and control with magic. And then you have apotheosis. That's to become a god, known in theurgy and Neoplatonic traditions. Luciferianism, it's very close to the original meaning, to become a god. That doesn't mean that you're going to have an ego trip and become someone that thinks he's better than everyone or detached from reality. No. It's knowing that your choices, your thoughts, all those things shape your now, your present, and your future. You have, for the most part, probably 85% power to shape your world. Now the other remaining is just chance and, accidents or things you can't control. But generally, apotheosis means it's attaining continually new levels. And this is through the course of life. It's not done in a year or 2 years. There's no grade structure for it in any initiatory concept. You can join orders and do this. You could be a Setian, you could be even an atheistic Satanist, you could be a theistic Satanist, you could be a Thelemite, a chaos magician. Luciferianism is a core principle of the 11 points of power, of a way of perceiving and shaping the world. By applying that magic begins in the foundation, and you're becoming a living embodiment of the Watchers, the fallen angels, whatever that deific mask is that inspires you. Now, the names of the Watchers, what are the names of these fallen angels? And why are their names even important? Well, to understand the power of words, of language, unspoken or spoken, it's a naming and commanding process. And names hold kind of atavistic or primal or primeval knowledge and meaning. And in that, it evokes and connects to our minds and the energy of that spirit, of that power, of that force, of nature, and we're facilitating and guiding and accumulating, directing it. So names are important because there's meaning, and in knowing the meaning on different levels, the subtleties, use that unconsciously to get that wheel turning of the Triad of the Morning Star: liberation, illumination, apotheosis, on and on and on, according to your own speed and what you want to do. So the Watchers, the sons of El is originally a Canaanite god, but in this sense it's of Yahweh, essentially. They are Watchers, fiery type, theomorphic, angelic powers, almost demigods in a way. And they sought to join the sky and earth and beget in this black infernal alchemy the formula of infernal union, which is Leviathan as the circle, as the extent of self, Samael, Lilith, joined in union. The two aspects of that beget Chioa, or Cain, or Baphomet. That is the demonic balance. That's your true will, your holy guardian angel, your daemon. That balance, that alchemical transformation of you as a black adept, as a Luciferian, as a magician. And so in understanding this is important. Mount Hermon, in this sense of fallen angels, represents the symbolism of the altar. That's your foundation, your seat. And within the work, I constructed sigils, talismans, for a majority of these leaders of the Watchers. And they're based on elements. They're Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic spellings and names. Now, as I mentioned before, with fallen angels, the sigils of the Decadarchs, the Watchers, these fallen angels, were designed with the elements and almost unconscious symbolism in a basic form attached to each one, encircled with spelling variants in Greek, some Ethiopic script, Hebrew, and some Aramaic, to announce the intent of the Watchers, of each individual spirit fallen angel. From Azazel, Shemyaza, Sariel, and all of the type of Decadarchs, and their ancient meanings, the origins of their names from other pantheons previously, and a kind of formulation in how you can practically use them towards that process of the Triad of the Morning Star. Liberation, illumination, apotheosis. Now, the structures of the invocations were reconstructed from specific Greco-Roman, Hellenistic, Coptic, different formulations, including the methodology used in ancient Hebrew magic, utilizing words, some level of Witches Sabbat, and the type of kind of barbarous tongue we know that commands and calls forth, evokes, invokes, the convocation of the initiatory guides, patron spirits. The process is essentially infernal union, Samael, Lilith, or the two opposites joined in balance to beget the adversary. That is the alchemical change within you, the individual over time, and also to tap into the symbolic knowledge to type of align your mind towards what they guide and offer through omens, through unconscious interpretation, through your daemon facilitating that process of initiation. So the angelic magic, the invocations for demonic apotheosis, are truly Luciferian and satanic in utilizing the balance between darkness fueling and giving the force to the black flame, the torch between the horns, if you will, the morning and evening star, which is embodied in humanity. No matter how you approach it, that seed of spiritual rebellion. So the process of alchemical transmutations between the daemon, the watcher, and the Luciferian, the black adept, is a process. It is high or greater black magic, but it encircles each name within the type of process we see in Luciferian witchcraft as a mode of initiation. The symbol within the work is the Nephilim as the black adept, the magician. The Nephilim is that symbolic emergence, Baphomet incarnate, if you will. Within fallen angels, you also see references to cacodemonic apotheosis, which is not for beginners. It's more of the predatory spirituality, vampiric, really the black magical chaos magic, which is well hidden, far away from most readers. You're either guided to it or you're not. Now, the methodology is something which will allow the initiate, the person reading the book and applying it, to adapt in their own unique way. There's no dogmatic structure in my work in that sense, but there are specific methodology points of reference and steps which are suggested. Now, further on with the lore of fallen angels, as you know from the Testament of Abraham, the various Enoch works, from the Slavonic Enoch, Book of Enoch, to the Ethiopic Enoch, the Adam books. What else do we have? The Old Testament with Satan as a messenger angel, the enforcer who delights in messing with the monkeys, the clay. Then with Spanish Kabbalah and various mystics of that time, we see fallen angels, especially in Kabbalism, as appearing with many different forms. Samael, the 12-winged seraphic, like basically a deific mask, a deity, the Archangel of Rome, the enemy of the Hebrew temple. Those powers, the traits that Samael guides and presents, is cunning, strength, resourcefulness, self-dedication, being able to see between the lines, to test, to challenge others, but also beholding a powerful light and attaining heights, in their own words, that no other angels have attained. The fall is to embrace balance. The darkness, it's all a part of who we are, darkness and light. The terramorphic angelology in the Apocalypse of Abraham, as really explored by a man named Andrei Orlov from the Apocalypse of Abraham, deals with Azazel, a form of Samael, Satan, Lucifer, if you will, taking the form of a serpent with 6 wings on each side, then taking the form of a predatory, unclean bird, but also having a garment of darkness, containing the black flame, the forge and the fires of hell, Sheol, Hades, within, and his tongues are flame. The essence of hate or dislike among the fallen angels is for the humans, the uninitiated, the ones who are not elect, those who possess the black flame, that is, the individual consciousness to question and learn and accept responsibility for your path in life and those challenges therein. That is the essence of Luciferianism and why this path involves these darksome or demonic deific masks, powers, symbols. That is a part of the initiation process, depending on how you do it. So I hope this has given you a basic outline of fallen angels and the methodology in working with them. And I look forward to comments, results, and those who utilize, who pick up fallen angels, applying it in their own unique way, dedicating themselves to the works and validating it, because that is where the Nexion, the gateway, if you will, witch blood, is passed on. And the black flame is illuminated from your very essence of being. Banama Eraman. Thank you.